On Saturday afternoon, the Montreal Canadiens acquired the rights to unrestricted free agent defenseman Joel Edmundson from the Carolina Hurricanes in exchange for a fifth-round pick in the 2020 entry draft. The Canadiens later came to terms on Wednesday night with Edmundson, signing him to a 4-year deal worth $14 million. Immediately following the acquisition of Edmundson from Carolina, there was some interesting reactions from Montreal Canadiens fans. Some like the size that Edmundson brings to the Canadiens' back end, coming in at 6'4". Others thought this was the second coming of a potential Carl Alsner contract. Now, when I look at it personally, I'm somewhere in between on the issue. My biggest issue with the Edmundson contract is that it's not a needle mover for me, and it doesn't solve any of the Canadiens' biggest needs on their roster. One thing the Canadiens were very bad at last season was defending the slot pass, and Edmundson actually has one of the worst numbers in the NHL at doing that. So that's a bit of a concern to me because it's not an upgrade in a position that the Canadiens certainly need one, especially on the penalty kill. My biggest fear right now is that the Canadiens view Edmundson as a second pair defenseman and are going to slot him beside Jeff Petrie on that second pair. The thing about Edmundson is that he's viewed very poorly in the analytics community, but then again, so was Ben Sherratt, and he turned out to be a pretty good signing for the Canadiens last offseason. Much like Sherratt, it will be interesting to see if Edmundson's underlying numbers improve in the Montreal Canadiens system. With the addition of Edmundson, the Montreal Canadiens' left side is very crowded, and I think the writing is on the wall for one of Brett Kulak and Victor Mete to be traded out of Montreal. On the open market, I would believe that Brett Kulak would have more value than Victor Mete currently, but what's really confusing to me is that what does Brett Kulak have to do in Montreal to actually cement his spot in the lineup? I thought his pairing with Jeff Petrie was the Montreal Canadiens' best in the postseason, so it's a little concerning to me that the Canadiens might look to move on from Kulak. At the trade deadline, the Montreal Canadiens sent Marco Scandella to the St. Louis Blues for a second-round pick. Scandella later re-signed with St. Louis for 4 years and $13.1 million. I think what this says about Montreal's acquisition of Edmundson is they feel more comfortable with him on the back end than they did with Scandella, and they signed a very similar contract to the one Scandella got in St. Louis. The last thing I wanted to discuss here was the impact this could have on the Montreal Canadiens expansion draft protected list next summer with Seattle entering the league. I think the Canadiens are clearly going to protect Shea Weber, Jeff Petrie, and one of Victor Mete and Ben Sherratt. They can protect 3 defensemen on the back end if they choose to go the 7 forward route, which I expect they will do. Therefore, if you look on the back end, one of Joel Edmundson or Ben Sherratt is likely to be unprotected for the expansion draft, and up front you can consider guys like Paul Byron to be looked at for Seattle as well. Even with the signing of Edmundson, I think Marc Bergevin still has a lot up his sleeve in the coming month headed into the NHL draft and free agency. That's it for me today from Cook's Corner. Comment below whether or not you like the Joel Edmundson signing and what else Marc Bergevin might have in store this offseason. I'm Zach Cook. We'll see you later.